Go ahead.
What's up, Copper Dan?
Mr. Packer Jack, welcome everybody.
Top pocket find you.
I am a top pocket find. That's not what my wife says, but I feel that way.
Hey everybody, hey Indy.
Welcome to the Copper Factory. I am
Winder.
Copper Dan. This is my astute colleague that I think is lagging on me. There you are.
Yeah.
I think your internet is a little slow tonight there, partner. Kind of like you, old and slow.
Ready to roll, man. How are you doing? I'm excited after the show tonight. I'm watching.
What is today? Tuesday. It feels like a Monday for some reason.
Feels like a Monday, but it is Tuesday, which means I am recording The Curse of Oak Island right now, which will be commercial free for me after I finish the show tonight. I can watch them actually pulling stuff up from D2 in their giant crane out of their 10-foot circumference hole at the money pit. It's going to be awesome.
Yes, I might actually have to go watch the replay when we're done. What is going on
with you? I know you put in a lot of time with Gallatin Ghost, and we got into the illustrations a little bit in our happy hour on Saturday, and then you said, let's do a show on it. And Copper Dan actually did his own PowerPoint for tonight.
Well, it's not going to be of the level of a K-Pro or a Packer Jack, but it will keep my mind organized and will keep us on task. And I think it'll be good. It'll serve the purpose. We're going to crack the ice on a huge rabbit hole tonight. We're just going to slice the surface off because there is so much to talk about, but we've only got an hour, so we'll slightly dig in.
Let's do it, man.
All right. So what do we got going on tonight? Do we got do you know Jack?
This is a week we wanted to maybe take a little week off from You Don't Know Jack.
We're gonna give Jack a week off.
And since you and I are getting ready in less than a month to go hang out and metal detect with Gary Drayton, who from The Curse of Oak Island, in less than a month, I've got something ready if you want to do it now, called Pieces of 8 Questions with Gary.
8 questions with Gary?
Hey man.
Hey, Packer Jack, you don't know Gary.
I don't know him yet. I have talked to him, but I don't know him. Oh, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Hang on. Let me stop share. Let me pick the right screen. Rookie error. Here we go. Nope. For some reason, it's not picking it up. Let me see if, can you see, what can you see, Dan? Do you see a PowerPoint at all?
Have a problem.
We have a problem.
Hey, can you hear me? I think you're back.
Yep. Now can you see?
All right, we're back. My internet apparently is unstable. That's too bad, but we'll fight through.
All right. Let me know if you can see a full screen PowerPoint right now.
It looks great. Wonderful job. You're going to make my PowerPoint look like a big pile of poop.
All right. So there's Gary. This is called Pieces of 8 Questions with Gary. Obviously, anybody in the treasure hunting community should know what pieces of 8 are. So let's get going. I had the opportunity to be emailing with Gary over the last month and then asked him some questions. And this was the first question I asked Gary. And I said, how'd you first get into metal detecting? And Gary said, I used to be a very proud mudlarker. I would go along tidal riverbanks searching for old bottles and clay pipes and all sorts of things. Then one day I dug down in this area where I pulled out a few nice little bottles and clay pipe bowls. And at the bottom of the hole, I saw a shiny 1789 gold guinea. That was the day I thought, wow, imagine if I had a metal detector and I changed hobbies and I got into metal detecting big time. There's a picture of Gary when he still had hair.
Look at that. Look at that young guy there. Holy cow.
All right. Then we had, what's the most valuable item you've discovered with your metal detector? And there's actually a picture over there. It's a $500,000 emerald ring. It's a 1715 Spanish emerald ring made from 22.5 karat Inca gold with 9 flawless emeralds. That was probably part of Queen Isabella's dowry. This treasure was intended to go back to Spain, but the galleon was wrecked along with 10 others on the Florida coast. That would be my most valuable find, the best shipwreck treasure ever found in the Americas. That was the ultimate Bobby Dazzler. And Gary still has this ring in his collection.
That is something else. Holy man.
It is something else. All right, why don't you take this one, Dan?
All right, let me make it big so I can read it. What's it like working with Rick and Marty Lagina? They're fantastic guys. They're fantastic guys. The thing that stands out about Rick and Marty is that they are both passionate treasure hunters, but they're very respectful of the island itself. You could say they are stewards of Oak Island. I have to say I'm proud to call them my friends.
Yep. And how about this one, Dan?
You want me to do this one too?
Sure.
What's your favorite top pocket item to date? That would have to be the lead cross because it's so out of place. We tested the cross and the lead came from a mine in France to discover a medieval artifact on Oak Island in North America. I'm proud of that. I really am. The guys even call it Drayton's Cross. To have an artifact named after you is pretty special.
Yeah, that is cool. All right, I'll take this one. Are you focusing on any area of the island this year? There's been the one area of the island that's been the focus for him, and that's the swamp. He said one amazing discovery took up a lot of team search effort. My focus was on metal detecting this area. I've always said that the best ability is availability, and the team kept me really busy this year. And so that's all the talk about all the metal detecting that went around the ship's wharf and as they're finding wood in the swamp. And then I asked kind of the obvious stupid question, do you think your catchphrase Bobby Dazzler will catch on? And he said, it's too late. It's already caught on. I get stopped everywhere when I'm walking off of a plane or I'm in the supermarket, even walking the dog here in Florida. It's just so funny. A car will drive past, and as soon as you hear the screech of the brakes, you know it's an Oak Island fan. And they'll back up and say, Mr. Bobby Dazzler. They call my dog the top pocket dog. If I pick something up off the supermarket shelf, and this is everywhere, people will always go, is that a top pocket item? All right. All right, Dan, you want to take this one?
You've discovered items from many different eras. What's your historical period and why? It would have to be the Spanish colonization of the Americas from 1492 to the golden age of piracy in the Americas in the mid 1700s. Spanish conquistadors to English privateers, treasures and tragedies. It doesn't get any better than that as far as treasures are concerned. That's my passion. Spanish treasure. I love searching Spanish treasure on the treasure coast of Florida. That's why I do it in off season. It's incredible. I find Spanish gold, silver, and emeralds. Once you find that piece of treasure, a big Spanish 8 reals piece, you will see that the cross on one side and that the shield on the other. A big 1 ounce silver that was lost 300 years ago on a shipwreck. I know it sounds corny, but I defy anyone not to get Spanish treasure fever. And I think we're getting Spanish treasure fever pretty good, because that's what we're going to go do.
And finally, the last question, if you could metal detect anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? And he said, I would actually go back to South America. That's my favorite place because of all the things I said about Spanish treasure. I found a heck of a lot of Spanish treasure in the Florida and the Caribbean, but I would like to retrace the steps back to South America, looking for the mother lode. So there you go. No, you don't know Jack this week. It was Pieces of 8 questions with Gary. And it's nice that we've already developed a fun relationship with Gary, and he's excited about us coming down to be with him in less than a month.
And now you know Gary Drayton.
Yeah.
And now you know Gary Drayton. What I suppose we could everybody's here to talk illustrations. We could dive right into that if we want.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm ready to sit back and let you take the screen control.
Oh man, I'm taking over the show.
Woo!
All right, boys and girls. So before I do this, I will have, oh, you got yourself a little bit beverage there. This whole illustration thing has come on really quick, really fast. I had about a 3.5, 4 hour Zoom meeting last night with Gallatin Ghost, and we really went over some stuff, and I got permission to share some stuff, and along with the stuff that I can offer. So I only had a limited amount of time to put this together today, but I hope I did a good enough job where everybody will get the point. And I need to go fix something here really quick. Time out. I got to get to the right screen. There I am. All right. All right. Can you see the full screen?
I can see the full screen.
All right. The illustrations, is there more to them than meets the eye? A collaboration between Copper Dan and Gallatin Ghost. And I know there are a couple other, I know Alan has some stuff. I'll be working with him, so we'll probably do some of his stuff.
You're just stealing everybody from Indy. Gallatin Ghost, then you're going to steal Alan Kelly. Stellar Showtime. What are you doing, Dan?
I know it. All right, some background. In February of 2020 at the World Series of Fen, my friend Nelica says she had a surprise for me. Nelica had met Forrest and acquired all of the illustrations from both TTOTC and Too Far to Walk a few months earlier. As many are aware, she sold many of the Too Far to Walk illustrations on eBay. She has decided for now to keep all of the Thrill of the Chase illustrations. And I forgot to, this is my template. Anyways. So what was the surprise? Her surprise to me were copies of everything Forrest had given her that pertained to the Thrill of the Chase. One of those copies was an illustration from No Place for Biddies. It was well protected and had pen marks that had bled through the paper. I got really excited when I realized that was one of the final drafts that would be used in the book. But I also noticed that some of the copies I had were different from the book. Someone had made subtle changes to the original draft. I asked myself if it was Forrest. Unfortunately, I never got to ask Forrest himself before he passed if he made those changes. But knowing what I know now, I doubt he would have ever answered them. I want to go over some of the differences between what I have copies of and what is used in the Thrill of the Chase, and how it may apply to a potential solution. Tonight, I'd like to start with comparing two illustrations, No Place for Biddies and Teachers with Ropes. You keeping an eye on chat?
I am keeping an eye on chat.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Because I got my full screen up with this. So part of what I will be sharing will be very clear, and some will take some imagination. All I ask is for an open mind. All right, so this picture on the right, this is what was used to make the book. It is not identical to what's in the book, and we'll go over that in the next slide. But we also had on the left here this illustration. So the illustration started off like this, and somebody added a number of things. For one, they added flowers to the biddies. They had stripes to a young forest. And there's a couple other things they added in here that I did not notice until Gallatin and I went over it, but we'll get to that. So, okay. So to the left is what I have. That is the final draft illustration. But when they actually put it in the book, as you notice, this is picture on the right is the illustration that's actually from the book. We're missing the biddy, and I assume that is an old forest. And we also got two extra people over here.
Yeah, and I know people were trying to say that that's a word in the guy's hat on the far left, on the
well, it actually says blaze.
Right.
If you blow it up, it says blaze. But Gallatin pointed out something really interesting to me. If you look at this guy right here, look at his shirt, look at the way the shirt is on him, which is kind of odd. It just, for a professional, is it, I'm trying to remember the illustrator. Is it Alan Polk that did these ones? It just looked kind of weird. And then when you flip over to here and you see that same thing, and this guy, this is a mirrored image.
Right. So there were people that were even trying to fold that page like you used to do with the Mad magazines.
Well, stay tuned. We'll get to that.
Right. I'm staying tuned, man.
Stay tuned. All right. Next slide. Well, here we are. If you fold those two pages together, and I actually did this. This is Gallatin shared this with me, but I'm just going to stop screen share for a second. I just made a copy. Don't do this with she actually did it with their book. I'm like, Gallatin.
Hey, there are people that destroyed their book thinking because it was made of paper or wood that the answer was in the wood of the book. And so they ripped the covers apart and the bindings apart.
All I did was I took a picture with my phone, and I can print right from my phone. So you take this and you fold it. There's significance to this, but let me go back to my screen share. And let me see if I can back up a slide.
Yep, I saw it. It says 9 Mile Hole right there in the shirt.
Well, I don't know about that, but
it does say blaze with a little cross above it too, right? So
yep,
there were people that said that the blaze that right above that is a little cross or a T. Very interesting.
Yeah, that could be. But the significance of this is that two become one.
Right.
And it's the other part of the significance. So to do this, Forrest had to take, we assume this is Forrest, by the way, he had to take, these are not, this is my original, and these were never used. They just used this over here. They had to get them out of the way. He had to take them and cut them out, and then they put them on the other page. But he took the old Forrest right out. But there's something else. So this is the original before stripes were added. And this is the original after the stripes were added. But if you notice up here, he also darkens in these two areas. And he did that to a lot of illustrations. And if you turn it on its side, you'd have to think of a mirrored image, ES. Now, John, who do we know with the initials ES?
I believe it's Ebenezer Scrooge. No, it's Eric Sloan, my friend.
Eric Sloan, yes.
Like how I just came up with Ebenezer Scrooge out of the blue there.
Yeah.
It's the wicked brain of Packer Jack. Continue, Jacob Marley, my friend.
All right. So bear with me, guys. I know we're we're going on the edge here. Eric Sloan wrote a book called Camouflage. This is more Gallatin's information. This is not my own. This is from Gallatin. And camouflage is how to camouflage a target. And then I brought up the fact that Forrest also included the iceberg theory into hang on here. Lost my train.
Hey Dan, if you look at the ear, there's a little inside of the ear there. What's that number inside of the ear?
It's a 6 or 9. I suppose you're looking at it like this. That's a 9.
That's right.
In important literature, he talks about, I should have wrote this down because anyways, the hang on. All right. I can't find it this fast, but anyways, it's the writer that uses the iceberg theory, and I completely have gone blank on him. And the iceberg theory is where you're hiding information in text. So,
hey Dan, do you know what that ear shape also looks like there? When it's sideways like that?
An arrow.
Here, I'll put it up on my phone real quick.
Yeah, that's what I was with the number 9 in it. I didn't notice that before either. Anyways, so part of it is why after the fact did they add the stripes to the shirt and the flowers? Well, if you go back to another illustration called Teachers with Ropes, this is the illustration that I have. This is the illustration. This is right out of the book. And if you notice, all of a sudden this young girl has flowers on her. It's like it's telling you these 2 chapters are synced together.
There's also, people have said, the flowers are actually stars, and then right next to stripes. And so in the one you have with the
stars and stripes,
stars and stripes too, under a canopy of stars is the American flag. So there's a lot of that stuff in there that people have talked about over the years, but it's pretty cool to see these different versions of these illustrations where Forrest is obviously making changes to them. And again, I'll say at this point, we assume it's Forrest making the changes to them.
Yeah, we don't know it. I'm a little more convinced that I think because of some of the things that Gallatin and I talked about, that we feel that Forrest did make the changes. Some subtle changes is adding the black to the books and to the teacher's dress. But right. Gallatin, I noticed some of that, like the flowers. I noticed that a long time ago that those 2 chapters were tied together. I didn't know what to do with it. But Gallatin kind of explained it, where if you read, you have to read the text and use the illustration together. What is this teacher doing with her hand?
Saying halt.
Halt. Okay, it's the only place in the book that does this. Now we're gonna, this is going, now we're living on the edge here. If you look at the teacher, you can find an M, and let's see, where's the A?
Under
there's
her,
an M,
R.
yeah, with the a D, an I believe the S is up here. There's the N. It spells out the word Madison. Where will waters halt is the Madison.
Yeah, and a lot of people were trying to, if you go back, Dan, real quick, a lot of people were trying to match that rope to the river. But
yep, I wasn't gonna go into that tonight, but we did discuss that last night too.
Yeah, and when I looked at it, it's actually the mountain. You start up as the National Park mountain, and then the 3 brothers have those 2 peaks then it goes into where there's that raise right in the second half of the car where 9 Mile will be. So if you think of it, don't think of the shape of the river, think of the shape of the mountain range along the Madison, going from Madison Junction towards West Yellowstone.
So if you use these two chapters in unison and the teacher is halting and it spells out Madison, and then you go back up to this and it's where two things converge to become one, it puts you at Madison Junction. I know Gallatin does a really nice job of explaining it. I hope I didn't butcher it too much. That's just the basic premise. But what I can tell you is that there are differences in some of the illustrations that Forrest gave Nelica and that I have copies of. There's
Right.
like, this was the pre, this was the final.
Yeah, it's really amazing, you know, so that biddies, they took the one off and then it's the two women facing each other, right? Page across from it. And
Yeah,
then he adds
correct.
those.
It's this one. I don't know where I don't know how they did the other woman. I kind of looked at it to see, is that like a mirror image? And I didn't believe it was, but Forrest completely cut himself out. And
Right.
I think he did some of that. I think he did have help drawing these. And then to a point, then he took and he added his own. We all know Forrest can draw, he can doodle.
Right.
And it doesn't take too much to do cut and paste and mirror images and stuff and put things back together.
Right.
1 second. Let me get to the end of this and finish this. There is more, much more, but for tonight, let's discuss this. A big thank you to Gallatin. You have really helped me make sense of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. I mean, just to know that there's those different versions out there, I think it's been talked about, but the fact that you actually have some of them and
that was for me the biggest eye-opening aha moment that tied those two chapters together. And Gallatin, we talked about a lot more last night. We went into, you know, that stretch of the Madison being the rope. I didn't want to bring that. I didn't want to go in it because I want to really do some overlay work, and I want to see it with my own eyes how it really fits.
Yeah, Ben said, when did Forrest actually share the illustrations? It had to be before the end of the chase. So if he was giving,
it was when did Nelica get them? I don't think it was long before she gave them to me. I think she went down to see him in late 19 because she went to see him obviously because right after I got him, COVID hit. We went to the World Series of Fenn in 2020, and it was only like 2 or 3 weeks after that is when everything stopped. So, and that's when I got him. She gave him to me there. And I think so. She probably got him late, probably the fall of 19.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize really, you know, it was like, oh, cool. Thank you for this. And what I was more interested in is that when I found out that I probably had one of if you look at Forrest took and just made subtle from the original that Nelica has, they took a copy and then they just made just subtle little changes, nothing huge, but you could see the pen marks bleed through. And I was like, that's what I have. That's why it was protected. It wasn't like some of the one without the stripes or anything was just a copy that was just thrown in there. It wasn't any protected coating or wrapping or anything where just a standard piece of paper that I have was extremely protected. And like, that is because it was one of, I mean, obviously it wasn't the final draft because what's in the book is different because they added to it. Right. But
can you pull that back up again and go to the page that you folded over just so we can look at that?
I do have it.
Looking at
I do have it. I do have this one.
Yeah, right, I just think if we look at it together on this from the presentation, just to have everybody talk about you know, the fact that, you know, we said the clues are in the poem, there's hints in the book. You know, Forrest was asked is, you know, what the blaze was, and you know, is the blaze there? And he said, in a word, yes, you have the word blaze there. When you guys look at this, if this is supposedly the hint, and I use quotes, hint for the blaze, what are we actually seeing there, Dan? You said Madison Junction. Explain why you think this represents Madison Junction. What are you seeing there that says Madison Junction?
You take two of the same people and you merge them, like two rivers becoming one creates the Madison. You got two.
So you're talking about the Gibbon, the fire hole, and the Madison.
Gibbon and the fire, the Gibbon and the fire hole come together and they create the Madison, where these are mirrored images. If you fold them into each other, was how, you know, and Forrest talks about mirrors quite a bit.
Right. So now just go to the slide where they're together and let's just soak it in, because I think
you can see it. I mean, that this is obvious. This is the same guy here and here. It's just he just rolled over. He just mirrored him.
So when it's together and it has the word blaze there, is there anything that we're seeing there? You know, are we seeing double omegas? Are we seeing, you know, just the one guy's head there with the word blaze next to it with a little cross? You know, it's very interesting that if it ever would come out or Jack would ever say what the blaze was, is this where he said he found the blaze in the book? A lot of people thought it was a text word, but it very well could be there.
Let me see if I can get out of this.
Yeah, I see what
show
Trump
you
is saying and some of the other people, but there's no denying that you have a mirrored image there that when you put it together like a Mad magazine, I mean, I don't think that's overthinking it. You know, there's a reason why those things are mirrored images, and when they come pulled together, they turn back into one. I don't, you know, maybe I'm just, we're just,
and I know, you know, like I said, that's why I asked just everyone have an open mind to look at this and let's discuss it. I'll put these out. People can look at them. They can come up with their own theory. So I wanted to, here, I will show you a possibility. Let me share my screen once more here.
And everybody's got different definitions of where warm waters halt, right? The real question is, where do warm waters stop feeding? You know, where would the temperature start dissipating the further you got away from it? Is the Madison still warm? Obviously. Is it still warm at 9 Mile? That's 52 degrees or whatever in winter. But everybody has their own cognitive bias now on, it has to be exactly where the warm water stops. No, it's where would it dissipate? Where would the temperature begin to change because of, you know, the Gibbon coming in or something else coming into it? Again, that's just my opinion, but
I'm going to use a different photo.
People deal in a lot of absolutes when they say this is what it is. That can't be where this is, or that can be. And I think it really only mattered to one guy what the truth was. So that's Forrest. If he believed that Madison Junction was where warm water halt, it doesn't matter that we may have a differing scientific opinion. It's just we have to, as Jack said, think like him, not like us, like him.
So here is Gypsy Magic. And what do these look like?
You know, a lot of people said, is it an owl with its wings spread? Is it?
I said, it looks like two omegas. And what's in between the two omegas? A blaze.
Right.
I don't know. Again, that was just.
Yeah, there were, if you go back to that one, there were also were the windows on the back of those, were those actual trees, and were those the notches that were in the trees surrounding the GPS solve that had those well-worn notches that weren't put there a year before, that had been put, those notches had put in the trees for obviously quite some time before, you know, just a year before. And is that what that represented as well too, with the blaze in the middle of it?
Oh, pretty cool. Interesting. Gallatin is in chats right now. I think she might have just got in too.
Yeah, and Gallatin says, yeah, we've shared all these things, but nobody's, Copper Dan is sharing the original illustrations versus the old ones where you're saying, yeah, there was obviously.
Well, yeah, Gallatin did share these she said on Candy's channel, and it never took traction, kind of got poo-pooed. She's reached out to some other YouTube channels, and it just, but when I looked at what her theory was, and now with what I have, that this stuff was added, and it was added for a reason.
Right.
In my opinion. I mean,
what was added? It was added, and there's a reason. Forrest may be the only one that knows what that reason
is. And I reached out.
Decided to change.
I reached out to the illustrator, probably a year ago, and I asked him. I'm like, I told him what I had, explained the situation, and I got a reply. I basically said, "It's been so long, I can't remember."
I'm gonna have to check with Ben. Maybe the guy who made the changes was the illustrator from Ha Ha Ha. We'll have to figure that out. But similar style.
We do have proof that, and there's been this isn't the only one. There were.
Oh no, yeah, I can only imagine.
Let's see, what do I have? So I have, these came from Too Far to Walk. And let me make myself big here so I can see what I'm showing. So got the guy fishing with the exact mirrored image. And these were just, Nelica took copies of them and sent and put them in what she gave me, and that was with her thing. So, but why would, I haven't even opened Too Far to Walk to start that mess. I'm like, that's one crisis at a time. Let's do Thrill of the Chase first of all.
Yeah, I was reading. Ben says I didn't want to touch this. The insinuations the chase was compromised. I don't want to blame anyone for that. Good job playing the game, but the chase was compromised. I think, there's two ways to look at that. One is it was Forrest's chase to do however the heck he wanted to. His rules of engagement were his. There's Nick Sparrow who says, Forrest blew it when he started meeting with people and started responding to emails and started, potentially having relationships and allowing people to answer emails for him. And so I think you could look at all of those things, Ben, and not just these, and have the total consensus of this whole thing was compromised. And then at the same time, you can say it was his game. It was his game of Big Brother to make up the rules however he wanted to. And we can disagree with it and say that it was compromised. But at the end of the day, there's no legislation on how the treasure hunt needed to be done. It's up to the person, right? Dan, when you did yours in the Trolls Cache, and I think everybody learned a lot from the Fen chase, you started to put, answers to people. You wanted to make sure people were safe. So you're putting the disclaimers about, making sure you had a partner when you went out. So I think
it becomes, it becomes tricky. When you're getting emails and when they become, especially when they become towards the safety part of it, and whether you should be, how far you can answer it without compromising your treasure hunt, but yeah, you don't want to see a person get hurt, and you try to think of all these things in advance, but I didn't. So, it turned out a success, but even the end of mine it was not solved the way I intended it to. I kind of feel like maybe the same thing with the way the end of Forrest's was solved. There was
I just want to congratulate Jana again for winning the Trolls Cache.
Go ahead. After what those guys did the other night,
like Eminem at the Super Bowl dropping bombs, baby. Boom, boom, boom. All right, we're back. So this is great, and I think this is really, really interesting when you start looking at that to say what's the true definition of a hint and what was the clue. If a hint is actually spelling out Madison and the teacher, or putting the word Blaze and actually showing Madison Junction. And again, you didn't get into page 99, but you did get a copy from Nelica, page 99 too. And you said there wasn't anything different on that page, Dan?
I haven't got a chance to really look.
Oh, we got a whole nother show then we got to do next week.
There's going to be, there's there's a lot of differences, and there's other things, and I just wonder if you really did hide the hints and the illustrations. But it's not just the illustrations, because you also have to use the chapter to put things in the right perspective, the words. So it's doing, like Forrest said, this is not going to be easy. He once said, if once you figure out where warm waters halt, the rest of the clues will start to become easier, because I think, oh, well, you learned how he put the hints for warm waters halt, and maybe Canyon Down to Home of Brown, maybe we can find them in illustrations.
Yeah, if you remember, because we showed on Saturday the little African-American girl from Teachers with Ropes, and then she had the book with the ruler. If you look at the one that you have from the book, it's almost like she's got her finger down, giving the finger, but actually pointing down. So if that's the mountain range that shows National Park, Monument Mountain to Three Brothers, then to Mount Haynes, and her finger is pointing down right there. Again, that's another one you got to take a look at and say, for all of us saying, potentially 9 Mile is too generic or lame.
Hemingway, it was bugging me that I could not remember Ernest Hemingway's name with the iceberg theory. Hemingway. There. Now I can sleep at night.
The old Copper Dan in the Sea. It's going to be you. You're going to get washed out while Ben and I are metal detecting with Gary. Marlins. You're going to hook a marlin. It's going to be fantastic.
I can't swim, Clark.
We'll get Christy Brinkley to come in and save you.
Oh yeah, that'll go over well. Is she even alive anymore?
Yeah, she's alive. My God, what's the matter with you? I don't even think she's 60 yet. She's probably right around. Wow. I got to think she's probably around 60 years old.
No. Oh, what is the chat saying? Am I getting ridiculed?
If you do a show on hidden hints in the illustrations, you must do a show on the hidden photoshopped pictures. Okay, that's Lori. 9 clues, 9 locations, 9 adventures, 9 references to notoriety, 9 reasons to the solutions. Ozo. Page 99 does show a nook, though, says Nomadic. And Kiwi's Road said, just to make it better for us, went into that much detail to hide clues in the entire book, not just lines in a poem, emotional relevance. Davio says 2 books, 2 rulers. He's talking about the ruler in the original photo that was traced to make Teachers with the Girl and Teachers with Ropes. It definitely isn't 9 Mile Hole, says E. Helke.
I don't want it to be 9 Mile Hole.
MJ Inzer says, I've been watching bear attacks. Crazy. There's some entertainment. You just pull them up on YouTube and watch bear attacks. That's fun.
I mean, if you one thing we talked about last night is if you do believe that the Madison River is represented by the Teachers with Ropes, and there is something that I'm gonna leave it till the next, tease it for the next week. We'll dive into that, but there is a little bit of evidence that
Forest Frenzy is absolutely right. I'm just, because so many people have now started to rebel against 9 Mile Hole. I am not a defender of 9 Mile Hole. I'm not going to commit to any solve until Jack either says it's there or there's a video of Forrest saying it. But I do think it's interesting that we go through the soup du jour and, but absolutely, once there's a location, now people try to make it work back. The things that I'm saying were already out there, or, the Teachers with Ropes being there is not something that I thought of after, people said 9 Mile. And in fact, as Dan has already given credit to Gallatin, most of these things she had well before the chase was announced as being found by Forrest. So I think if people are doing that now and you're trying to reverse engineer your solve to 9 Mile, you got to be very, very careful about confirmation bias and just trying to come up with things that justify it versus things that would actually bring you from a warm waters halt, whether it's from the border at Yellowstone or Madison Junction, to logically say you can go step by step to get to the location where Forrest eventually secreted the chest.
I don't have a when I say I don't want it to be 9 mile, I don't have a particular problem with 9 Mile hole itself. It's the crossing, and then there's just this vast woods there, and it's and then even that's okay, but is there something in that wood, some kind of blaze, and that that's not a tree, or was it really something just carved into a tree or nailed onto a tree, and how is that not easily removed?
Right. So I think most people have done research, and then you obviously, when you talk about this, you bring in specialized knowledge potentially, but the nature of across from Fen Rock, if you go to that one dry creek, not the island that's further to the right or to the east, that prior to the fire, earthquake fire 92, when slurry and a lot of stuff came down and actually really dried those creeks out, that dry creek across from Fen Rock when Forrest was a kid was actually a gurgling brook. And if you go up about 150 feet, there was actually a pool there, and a literal pool. And the trout would go up that to spawn. And right next to that, on the eastern side of it, is a grove of trees that would be where that pool was. Bavetta and I were really going at it last night to really kind of confirm with each other where we thought the pool was, and we picked the same spot. And he circled it one way, I circled it another, and then we put an X where we thought specifically that tree would have been, where Forrest would have leaned up against it, write his note to Peggy, see osprey jive into that pool where the trout were just, they're spawning. So they're just easy for the osprey to come down and grab them. And
I don't want to.
It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that now, but when it meant something to Forrest, when it was a special place, when he wrote it to Peggy, it could have been an incredibly beautiful place with a pool of water that's off of the Madison River with a brook that streams back to it. The trout spawn in it. They go back down. They go back into the Madison River from there. Trees to lean up against. Again, I have no idea if that's it or not. It's just interesting to know what the state of it looked like when it would have emotionally become a special place to Forrest. And you have to look at differently than this big thicket of trees with a dry creek that everybody says, well, this isn't romantic. This isn't a cool looking place. Well, what if you could go back in time and actually see water rushing down that creek from a nice pool that's about 150 feet up, or excuse me, 150 feet down from the bank of the Madison. And it was actually this beautiful nature area with osprey diving down, trees to lean up against as you watch the trout spawn there. Could easily pick them out of there if you wanted to. Just something to think about, that we have recency bias too, and we're looking at Google Earth photographs of a place now, and a place that's been even more overgrown with lodgepole pines that might have had a much different appearance back when Forrest was at the age where he's writing a note to Peggy, and or a place that he and Skippy hung out at, and could have looked tremendously different than it does now.
Mm-hmm. Nelica is in chat. She says tidbit of info on page 99, the illustration. I do not.
Crumb says, why is a special place a place you can't even keep the fish you catch? You could back then. They ate the fish. They caught the fish. They took it back to their camp in West Yellowstone. Those rules changed after that. But when Forrest was a kid, they ate that fish.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought maybe I late because I was talking and you just. So Nelica's in chat. She says a tidbit of information on page 99 illustration. I do not own that. There's only one version of it. When I asked Forrest why I didn't have that one, she cuts off. Oh, I think it's just, and I do remember her telling me that I have a little bit. I don't know if I may not have the page 99 illustration.
I thought you held up, but you had a copy of it because it had a line. It had like a crop line across the top of it. You showed it on Saturday.
Did I?
You might have been so hopped up on gin you forgot you had it.
Well, I know I got. You know what? I'm sure I have something. You know what? She doesn't have the she doesn't have the one. What she's talking to, she doesn't have the one that's on the cardstock, the professional one, that where they were drew on. We probably
Rooster
have to.
Cogburn says, nice to see that Dan figured out his lighting.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, if you want to send some money for lighting, by the way. All right, so here is one. No,
Look at how
I
many
don't.
copper. Look at how many copper Dan has. It's just unbelievable.
So this is the one I have.
Yeah, you showed the one of actually page 99. You had it.
Yeah.
And it had a crop mark. It had crop marks above it, or a crop line above it.
Let me, maybe I have it in this pile. I got a lot of them. And some of them are like, I have two versions of the same one. Those are the interesting ones. Like this one, you know, this is the one without
Right.
the, and those are the ones that
this is just like fen porn.
So this is the one that was
Teasing everybody right now.
actually used because it says drawing 3 on it.
Okay.
And then I got wrong column. Oh, here we go. All right.
There it is.
That's
See how it
it
has the
there.
line above it that I was
Yep.
talking about? Right.
Let me see what I'm looking at. There we go.
So it's interesting that it has that line right at the the trail from the plane that crops up above it and then crops down below it. It does have the JF on it. So it looks like that's really a maybe after the fact copy, right, Dan?
Yeah. And like I say, I have to go through it. I'm just blowing my phone up here. Check it.
That's Shiloh telling you to quit showing these.
I figured it was Nelica. She just got a hold of me. The copy the copy of page 99 is a photocopy of a photocopy. So yeah, which is, but we'll go over it and see.
Yeah, that's cool. Gigi also said, she definitely was reiterating above, it's already passed, but that Madison is in the teacher on Teachers with Ropes. You can find all the letters in Madison on there. So
yeah,
again,
we went over that. I didn't go over everything from Teachers with Ropes, but we'll continue to, I want to have more conversations with her so I can have a little more time to put a presentation together. So, but
no, that was cool, Dan. Nice job with the PowerPoint. Nice use of the color orange in it. I give you 2 thumbs up on the PowerPoint. Everybody out there, 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, and give us a yes or no if you want Dan to do more of the illustrations that he has as well too, because we can do another show on some of the other ones as well.
we'll just go through all of them, and I'll put all of them out. I'll put all of them out there, so people can do their own research on them, and let's see if it leads us someplace, because so far in how many years, none of us were able to figure, to really nail this except for one person. That's name is Jack Stoop. And maybe,
Ben Candy said someone was JF, and Ben says James Flynn. I'm going total conspiracy theory. I'm going to say Jodie Foster. That's what I'm thinking it is. So just take it way off the reservation here and bring it full circle to the Ronald Reagan was mentioned because of the Reagan assassination attempt. JF is actually Jodie Foster. It's all coming. See, hat tip from Ben on that. There we go.
Thank you, Ben. Hey, Ashley's in the house. Ashley gave me 2 thumbs up. That's, oh my God, all kinds
They
of
must be
thumbs
doing what
up.
I'm doing, because I'm taping Oak Island right now, so I don't have to watch the commercials, but she's got to be as excited as I am that borehole D2 stuff's coming up. It's coming out of the hole tonight. Curse
And
of Oak Island.
Don't tell Gary this, but I have not watched an episode in like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, Ben and I are going to tell Gary while we're with him. Although, if we got to get stuff signed, you're the guy that raised the $30,000 for St. Jude. So Ben and I want to get a bunch of gratuitous signatures from Gary. We're gonna have to play you up. So I take that back.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I got a link with. See what we can do for St. Jude's this year. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I definitely want to. yeah, we're definitely going to make a pitch to Gary about some stuff. I sent that link to you and to Ben about the deal that I found on some shirts.
Yeah.
So I actually
Yeah.
ordered not only the ones for the home team here, but I got 10 additional that I ordered that we'll see if Gary was willing to sign those, or that we can do as giveaways as well too.
Remember to pack a Sharpie.
Pack a Sharpie. And then I think I'm going to get 3 of those. Dan, I sent you that one map. It's a 24 by 36 map of Oak Island. I think we'll get a couple of those and see if we can get him to sign those as well too. And
I'm sure he will.
yeah. Yeah.
Copper Dan, Packer Jack, the little girl next to the girl with the clods on her dress holding the rope is Ruby Bridges, Norman Rockwell painting. Yep. There's a lot of that in here. I hate to use the word plagiarism.
Yeah.
But
Copper Dan has an out with Gary Drayton. The Copper Princess actually left home tonight since they don't have cable to actually go watch Oak Island. She is a diehard Oak Island fan.
That is the one show she watched. I mean, when we chose to get rid of our cable, we were like, no one's watching the TV except for like little sim. I'm like, I can catch anything I need to watch on YouTube the next day. And so she just goes over to to our brother and sister-in-laws that live right next door to us. And yeah,
Pressure Aware says, nobody say Bobby Dazzler to Gary, amateur stuff, except we're going to have it on the t-shirts we're wearing when we go to see. But I say, Ben, I totally get what you're saying. You know, it's not fanboy time when you're meeting somebody. It's like, let's go find some pieces of 8, get on the beach as quick as we can, find whatever we can, take some pictures, some video, get some stuff signed, thank him, and then go out and celebrate like we just found pirate booty from a Spanish galleon and party like rock stars afterwards. That is what the game plan is going to be.
So I think part of the game plan is to get Gary drunk and see if we can get some super secret information.
Gary does like rum. I don't know if he may have an afternoon gig after us. I don't know. So
I don't know.
Once he sees how attractive and fun we are to be with, he may want to hang out with us all day. You never know.
This is going to be the fastest trip to Florida I've ever made. I land Friday at like 8 or 9 o'clock. Saturday, I'm with you guys. And Sunday morning, we fly out at like 8. And I'll be home by noon.
We don't get in until 9:30 our time, 10:30 at night on Friday. I did get front row big boy seats, because they weren't that expensive. We get to the hotel. Then Ben doesn't know this yet. He's coming in from LA. I think we have to be on the beach with Gary at 8:30 a.m., which means we have to leave Florida time 7 a.m. from Fort Lauderdale to get up there. So Ben's going to sleep in the car, sleep on the plane, sleep whatever.
He'll be all right.
And get there by 8:30 to get going with Gary. And then, like you said, Dan, we're on the plane at 8:15 flying back on Sunday.
Yeah, it's
a rock star weekend, in and out. It's
like
we're in Entourage. We're in Entourage, and we're just hopping on a plane going.
We're just gonna live that high all the way to the following Tuesday and bring the excitement right here to you guys.
It's like Fire Fest, but it's actually going to work. That's the beauty of it.
I would definitely tune in that Tuesday because there'll definitely be some giveaways.
Yeah, there definitely will be some giveaways.
But we are going to do something, we'll certainly give something away to the channel, but we are going to do use some of this to raise money for St. Jude's.
JK Parnier says, I'd say Ben will actually say Bobby Dazzler to Gary first after telling you guys not to.
Probably.
I believe that's probably correct. Yeah.
And you believe we somehow stretched this into an hour?
Well, I can believe we did with the great presentation that you did. We had for those that turned in late, we did 8 pieces of 8 questions with Gary that I got to ask him and he gave the answers. So if you didn't see that, tune back in and watch the beginning of the show. And I'm going to stick with
the orange PowerPoint. You like that orange, huh? I'll stick with the orange. I can make it purple.
You can make it whatever color you want, Dan. This is your world. This is the Copper Factory.
I had
one little slice of the universe. Where
I did 50-60% of that when I come up to the house to have lunch. And I just had to pull up a quick template, and I didn't have time to make it look pretty. I have to get this information on here, organize my thoughts, so I'm not a bumbling idiot on the show, which I end up being a bumbling idiot anyways. But I got my astute partner here that he's smooth with his words.
Yeah, but you know what? You're more endearing. You're more endearing, Dan. You're the genuine, real article.
We definitely got a bromance going on here. Definitely.
I come from the same school of schmoozapalooza as Ben Napple, so the silver tongues.
Rooster Cogburn, why are you two guys meeting Gary? Well, interesting story. Gary reached out to us when he found out that we had raised so much money for St. Jude's and we were starting a YouTube channel. And if you go back, I got the episode tagged where you can see the message from Gary. And Gary said, I'll get you guys some stuff signed and you can use it for your channel or whatever you want. Well, then my astute partner here said, hey, he gives metal detecting courses, and Gary's offered to do it for free for us too. And then we're just going to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that offer still extends, but if it doesn't, I'll cover it. But he may have amnesia on that, but it's not that much anyway.
Well, let me know, because
we'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about us getting down there safely, meeting up, me being able to get. I'm glad. Me being able to get the power couple into the car at 7 a.m. when it's going to be 4 a.m. their time.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Ashley, you'll have to be up about 1:30 to start putting makeup on.
No. She naturally looks that way. That's very mean of you to say.
I did not mean it that way, Ashley, and you know that.
All right, Dan, what time is it?
Not the same time it is for Ben.
You got to get off the air. We said we're going to keep this show to an hour.
I know.
Yep. If we do the happy hours, those go long, but this show has to stick to an hour.
So yeah, we'll keep the channel organized. If you guys see a happy hour and you look on it, it says 3.5, 4 hours long. We're talking about whatever. And you may want to watch it. You never know what you'll find. If we have anything like the other night, it turned into something important. We will create a 1-hour show on it, very organized, so you don't have to sit through 5 or 6 hours of video looking for something.
Hey, love you guys, everybody in the community, positivity. I know that there's sometimes, it's like Monsters, Inc. Some people think you fill up the tanks by scaring the kids, and then some people think you fill up the tanks by making them laugh. Dan and I are going to stick with filling up the Monsters, Inc. tanks with positivity and making people laugh, and still bringing good, heavy content every week. But we are not getting involved in some of the rabble that's going on out there. And that's what the Copper Factory is about. If you love it, great. If you don't, let us know. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week.
All right. Thank you, partner.
See you, Dan.
Talk to everybody later.
Take care, everybody. Bye.